It's March 18, 2025, just before 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Off the coast of Florida in the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, a SpaceX Dragon capsule hurtles through the atmosphere like a meteor, its heat shield glowing cherry red as it withstands temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. Inside, two NASA astronauts, Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, brace for impact, their bodies strapped into seats that have carried them through 286 days of weightless exile. Parachutes bloom like giant white flowers, slowing the descent, and with a massive splash, the capsule bobs to the surface. Recovery teams swarm in helicopters and boats, hauling the scorched spacecraft aboard a ship. As the hatch opens, Wilmore and Williams emerge, blinking in the sunlight, their faces gaunt but grinning. They've just come home from what was supposed to be an 8-day test flight. Instead, it turned into a 9-month odyssey trapped on the International Space Station. The question on everyone's mind: what the hell went wrong? To understand the drama, we have to go back to June 5, 2024, when Wilmore and Williams blasted off from Cape Canaveral aboard Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. This wasn't just any mission. It was the first crewed test flight for Starliner, NASA's long-delayed answer to SpaceX's Crew Dragon. After the Space Shuttle retired in 2011, America had no way to send astronauts to space without hitching rides on Russian Soyuz rockets. NASA poured billions into the Commercial Crew program, betting on Boeing and SpaceX to build the next generation of spaceships. SpaceX delivered first with Dragon in 2020, but Boeing lagged, plagued by software glitches, valve problems, and a failed uncrewed test in 2019. By 2024, Starliner was finally ready, or so they thought. The plan was simple: dock with the ISS, spend a week testing systems, and return. Wilmore, a Navy test pilot with 2 previous spaceflights, and Williams, a helicopter pilot and veteran of 2 long-duration missions, were the perfect duo: experienced, unflappable, ready to iron out any kinks. Liftoff was flawless. The Atlas V rocket roared to life, carrying Starliner into orbit. But almost immediately, red flags appeared. As the capsule approached the ISS, 5 of its 28 reaction control thrusters, tiny jets used for precise maneuvering, failed. Engineers on the ground scrambled, diagnosing overheating issues in the thruster pods. Helium leaks, which had already delayed the launch by a month, worsened, seeping from seals in the propulsion system. Helium is crucial. It pressurizes the fuel lines. Lose too much and the thrusters become unreliable. Docking succeeded, but barely, with Wilmore manually overriding some controls. Once aboard the ISS, the astronauts joined Expedition 71, expecting a short stay. But as ground tests on a duplicate Starliner revealed, the thruster problems were deeper. Teflon seals swelling under heat, restricting oxidizer flow, and potential combustion chamber damage from repeated firing. What followed was a masterclass in space engineering drama. NASA and Boeing ran exhaustive simulations in Houston and Seattle, firing identical thrusters thousands of times in vacuum chambers. Data showed the thrusters could misfire during deorbit burn, the critical maneuver to bring the capsule home. A failure there could strand the astronauts in a decaying orbit or send them skipping off the atmosphere like a stone on water. Helium leaks persisted, with 5 separate sites identified, some traced to manufacturing flaws in O-rings. By July, NASA extended the mission to 90 days for more data. August brought more bad news. Thruster degradation accelerated in tests. Boeing insisted Starliner was safe for return, but NASA, scarred by Challenger and Columbia, prioritized caution. On August 24, 2024, the bombshell. Starliner would return uncrewed in September, leaving Wilmore and Williams on the ISS until February 2025, hitching a ride on SpaceX's Crew 9 Dragon. Life on the ISS during those extra months was a mix of routine and resilience. The station, a football field-sized marvel orbiting at 17,500 mph, became their home for 286 days. Wilmore and Williams integrated into the crew, conducting over 300 experiments, from growing crystals for drug development to studying fluid behavior in microgravity. Williams, an avid runner, logged hundreds of miles on the treadmill, strapped down to simulate gravity. Wilmore, a devout Christian, led Bible studies via video link. But isolation gnawed. Holidays came and went, Thanksgiving with rehydrated turkey, Christmas with floating ornaments. Communication delays with family were minimal, but the psychological toll of an indefinite stay was real. NASA's behavioral health team monitored closely, prescribing extra video calls and care packages. The astronauts adapted, turning adversity into opportunity. Williams became the first woman to complete a triathlon in space, bike, run, swim simulation. Wilmore fixed a urine processor, saving precious water. Behind the scenes, the blame game simmered. Boeing's Starliner program, already $1.5 billion over budget, faced scrutiny. Whistleblowers' alleged rushed testing, congressional hearings loomed. NASA defended the decision, emphasizing safety over schedule. SpaceX, meanwhile, shone. Crew 9 launched September 28, 2024, with 2 seats empty for the stranded duo, but delays pushed their return. Finally, on February 25, 2025, Dragon undocked, carrying Wilmore, Williams, and 2 other crew. Re-entry was textbook. 25,000 mph plunge, parachutes deploying over the Gulf, splashdown at 5:47 p.m. So what went wrong? At its core, Starliner's issue stemmed from design flaws amplified by inexperience. The thrusters built by Aerojet Rocketdyne used hypergolic propellants, toxic but reliable. But the pod design trapped heat, swelling seals. Helium lines with welded joints prone to leaks failed quality checks. Boeing's software, infamous from the 2019 uncrewed flop, needed patches mid-mission. Critics point to corporate culture. Boeing, an aviation giant, underestimated space's unforgiving nature, cutting corners amid Airbus competition. NASA shares blame. Over-reliance on Boeing delayed alternatives. The astronauts' return was bittersweet. Wilmore and Williams, hailed as heroes, spoke of the ordeal's silver linings, unbreakable bonds with crew, profound Earth views. But the physical toll, bone loss, muscle atrophy, radiation exposure was real. Rehab at Johnson Space Center lasted months. For Boeing, the fallout is severe. Starliner's certification delayed to 2026, contracts lost to SpaceX. NASA's Artemis program, reliant on multiple vehicles, gained redundancy lessons. Yet the story inspires. In space's vacuum, human ingenuity triumphed. Wilmore and Williams' resilience echoes Apollo 13, problems solved, mission extended, knowledge gained. As we push to Moon and Mars, such setbacks forge progress. The stars wait, but safety first. What went wrong? Everything that could teach us to do it right next time. The launch on June 5, 2024 was a spectacle. At Kennedy Space Center's Launch Complex 41, the Atlas V, a reliable United Launch Alliance rocket with 100% success rate, stood tall under Florida's blue skies. Crowds gathered, media buzzed, Boeing's moment to shine after years of delays. Wilmore, 61, a Tennessee native and Navy captain with 8,000 flight hours, and Williams, 59, from Massachusetts with records as ISS commander, climbed aboard. Countdown, T-10, 9 ignition. The rocket's RD-180 engines thundered, lifting Starliner to orbit in 15 minutes. Cheers echoed. Orbital insertion was smooth, but docking prep revealed thruster anomalies. 4 aft thrusters failed during approach, 1 more en route. Williams noted funny noises like sonic booms from leaks. Manual docking succeeded June 6, but post-dock inspections showed white flakes, oxidizer residue, from thruster valves. Helium pressure dropped in 3 manifolds. Ground teams replicated in simulators. Boeing's White Sands facility fired thrusters 1,000 times, revealing seal bulge blocking flow. Helium leaks traced to propellant lines, likely from assembly vibrations. NASA convened anomaly review boards, weighing risks. Deorbit burn requires 14 thrusters. With 5 down, redundancy was marginal. August decision. Uncrewed return September 6, 2024, Starliner landing in New Mexico empty. On ISS, life adapted. The station, 250 miles up, houses 6 to 7 crew and modules the size of a Boeing 747. Wilmore and Williams joined Russians and Europeans, conducting EVAs, fixing ammonia leaks, tending gardens. Williams ran Boston Marathon virtually. Wilmore photographed auroras. Psychological support included therapy sessions, family videos, holidays, 4th of July with floating flags, Halloween in costumes, Thanksgiving feast. Christmas saw Santa hats and zero-G snow globes. New Year's toasts with rehydrated champagne. Physical challenges. Microgravity causes fluid shift, puffy faces, vision issues from intracranial pressure. Bone density drops 1% monthly, countered by resistance exercise. Radiation. Solar flares force shelter in shielded modules. The extension added risk, cumulative dose equivalent to 100 chest X-rays. Return on Crew 9 Dragon, launched September 28, 2024, with Nick Hague and Alexander Gorbanov, delayed by hurricane. Undocking February 25, 2025, re-entry fireball visible from Texas. Splashdown. Cheers med checks helicopter to Houston. Boeing's woes, $4.2 billion contract, $1.5 billion losses. Starliner needs redesign, new seals, thruster isolation. Certification 2026 earliest. SpaceX thrives, flying 80% NASA crews. Lessons, redundancy key, multiple vehicles prevent stranding. Human factors, astronauts' adaptability shines. Future, Artemis moon landings need reliable ships. Wilmore and Williams' story is triumph. From test pilots to castaways, they embodied exploration's spirit. As Williams said post-landing, space is hard but worth it. What went wrong forged heroes.